Okay, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, hello everyone. I'm Roberto Coluccio, and I'm gonna give you an overview of the architecture for the self-service platform boosting the data mesh journey of a leading pan-European financial services group. I'm a data architect at Agile Lab, which is Agile and not Agile because it's an Italian company, in the data engineering game since quite a while, and in love with data mesh, trying to contribute to the data mesh world by contributing to the community, contributing to some open source projects, launching our own data mesh Italia meetup in Italy, and actually driving the data mesh journey of some of our customers in Italy and in Europe. Agile Lab is a company focused on data engineering since 2013. We design and develop data platforms end-to-end. We also provide data strategies and manage data services. We are really a young but strong, decentralized and self-managed company. And we love data mesh, right? We are here in data mesh theater because of that. But I'm assuming that, people here know what data mesh is. So I'm sorry, I don't have the time to do the data mesh 101 once again. So I'm assuming that you are quite familiar with the paradigm. Today we are gonna focus mainly on this pillar here, which is data infrastructure as a platform, also known as self-serve infrastructure as a platform. Why is an enabling platform, a self-serve platform, so important when implementing a data mesh? It's important because when we shift left the responsibilities and the accountabilities towards domains, we talk about decentralization of the ownership. So when we do that, we really risk to create silos once again. Silos because domains have the ownership and the accountability to create data products, but who is going to guarantee that domains have all the technical knowledge to create data products, starting from scratch? Who is going to guarantee that these domains are going to create data products that are compliant to all these standards that are so important in the data mesh in order to have interoperable data products? Also, who is going to guarantee that the deployment and provisioning of the infrastructure for this data product is going to follow an atomic, standard, auditable, and replicable way for all the data products across all the domains? Okay, that's why we need a platform for that. That's why the platform is one of the pillars, and thanks Zamak for that. If we don't do that, then the platform doesn't work. Okay. The risk is that every domain create what they think they are data products. Instead, they are different things. And if they are different things, they are not interoperable, they are not addressable, they are not discoverable, thus, eventually leading to data not being used and not having return of investment. In order to address that, at Agile Lab, we created Data Mesh Boost. And the idea is that platforms are really the enabler thing in order to boost the data mesh journey, instead of starting from scratch, instead of creating for every domain things from scratch. And today we are going to see the architecture of this platform, okay? This platform is made of different components. These components are a part dedicated to teams willing to create data products. So they start from the data product builder here. Then there is a part that is responsible of handling the requests to deploy and provision data products, applying the federated governance policies. And then there is the data product marketplace, because, as I said, once data products are created, are deployed, are provisioned, and then we need somebody to use them, right? That's why we have a marketplace for data products where consumers can search, understand, and require access to them. But let's see the whole workflow here, okay? Okay, so here I'm a data product team, and I want to create data products. I don't want to start from scratch. So the platform team there created some templates for me, some Lego blocks that as a data product team can just clone. So assembling together my Lego blocks that make a declarative version of my data product. Why is it important to have a declarative version? Because platforms can really implement automations in our vision if there are metadata to implement those automations. In fact, the creation at this stage of a data product is just building up, leveraging pre-created templates of a definition which is declarative. Doesn't work. Still doesn't work. Okay. Once this definition is created and the data product team wants to deploy that data product, creates a release for it from the platform, and then the deployment requests make that this declarative version of the data product goes into this machine here, which is the data product provisioner. And the data product provisioner at this stage provides enforcement of governance policies that become computational because they have been implemented by the governance team or the platform team into the platform, completely customizable. That's becoming automation, that's becoming computational governance. Otherwise, they're just guidelines. Okay, so once at this stage the validation of the declarative version of the data products is successful, then the actual deployment and provisioning can take place. So this definition leads to the data product provisioner invoking a bunch of microservices, each of them responsible of providing and provisioning the single pieces of technologies that altogether make the data product. As we know, data products are made of output ports, control ports, workloads, storage areas, you name them, right? They are components. Every component can have a different technology, and technologies can evolve over time. This is why we designed this platform with technology agnosticity in mind, because eventually domains and data product teams might just want to, have that single piece of technology materialized as a template and have a microservice here, completely customizable and implementable new and new over time, to provision that single piece of technology. What's important here is that the data product provisioner knows what a data product is made of. It's made of 5 components, let's say, for example, and it takes care of deploying in an atomic way. This means that, for example, the 4th output port, if the provisioning of the 4th output port fails, the whole deployment fails. Okay, and this is very important, and this is completely hidden as a complexity for the data product team. So the cognitive load here is just 0 for them. Once the provisioning is successful in an atomic way, so for all the components, then and only then, the data product becomes available on the marketplace for data consumers to search it, discover it, understand because as a computational policy, maybe we enforce that some certain level of description, documentation, service level agreements, data contracts have been put in place, checked by the governance policies. And from the marketplace, they can understand the whole relationship of domains. This is not a data catalog. It's about relationship across domains in order to address the change management issues. And they can require access. And this is another piece of automation. So consumers can require access, and data product owners receive notification about somebody requiring read-only access. Of course, we are talking about data mesh, to these output ports. A few things to highlight here. The first one, if the federated governance team decide that there is a new policy to put in place, then they can just implement it using QLang, is an open source language. So it's code, it's policy as code, okay? They can just implement them, deploy them, they are version control, and from that moment on, all the data products need to be compliant to that policy. So very modular. And the second one is tech agnosticity. In fact, if this corporation wants to embrace, for example, Dremio, wants to start using Dremio because a domain wants to, innovate, the platform team just needs to create the related template so that the product teams can clone it, and that microservice for which we provide an open API, the whole template, which must include only the business logic to actually, provision that single piece of technology, being that a SQL table on Dremio or whatsoever. I mentioned a declarative version of the data product. This is very important because we believe that in order to get automation, we need metadata. Metadata drives and enables automation. In order to do that, we open sourced what we call data product specification. Check that out on GitHub. It's a YAML, it's a declarative and documented version of what is a data product for us, and it includes everything, and it's completely customizable, of course, for any specific scenario. Data contracts, output ports, workloads, you name them. Take pictures and go and fork our repositories. We need contribution from the community. But this is the key to have automation. I'd like to spend a few words about data mesh journeys because a lot of our customers are not ready to embrace all the 4 pillars of data mesh. And that's not a problem because from a data engineering perspective, we realize that the central IT team is a bottleneck. Even if you don't want to embrace data mesh, you need to do something, okay? And what you can do, thanks to Data Mesh Boost, is start having a self-serve infrastructure as a platform where the central IT team can develop templates in order to speed up the development of data pipelines, data something, even if they're not data products. But at least this goes towards the creation of a data culture that is really, really important for all the companies, having the usual legacy of data warehousing and stuff. This is very important for them. Of course, the second phase can be the implementation of the full data mesh, but with this platform, you can really have a gradual journey towards that. Wrapping up, there are 3 major things that this platform brings. The first one is data products templates and self-serve provisioning, which really helps in lowering the time to market. Lowering the time to market and total cost of ownership, because domains just reuse things, okay? Reduce the cognitive load because you don't need 100 super specialized data engineers in every domain in order to create data products. And also we have tech agnosticity, which I already talked about. Regarding the embedded computational governance, we can really help in reducing the risk of pitfalls because compliance to the governance policies is built into the templates, is built into the platform and can be extended along with all the new governance policies that are required by a certain corporation. And this is at deploy time, not at runtime. It's not on data trace. It's not once maybe a damage has been done, okay? Also, it's the way that enables the creation of and the usage of data contracts and observability, thus having interoperable data products, because data products are interoperable if there is a guarantee of having certain APIs, certain protocols, certain standards that every data product applies. If there are only guidelines, nobody follows guidelines. In fact, if you don't have templates and if you don't have self-serve provisioning, then it could take months to create data products, thus having higher TCO. It could be a nightmare, and we saw that with our customers for the first domain who needs to create a data product because they need to start from scratch. Instead, if you have templates for them, it's not a nightmare anymore. And also, you stack innovation for domains, because if they need another piece of technology, it's a cumbersome process to embrace in the whole company a new piece of technology. Think about data warehousing, for example. If you don't have embedded computational governance, then nobody follows guidelines. Let's be honest. And you need, in the last decade, we have the governance police. You have a centralized team who needs to go to in every single pipeline, every domain, looking for mistakes, looking for policies not be compliant. And also, this is very important, because if you have data contracts, but you don't have something automated that is able to detect if these data contracts are broken, you just fail. They're not data contracts. Last but not least, the marketplace is very important to engage consumers and allow them to find, search, discover, understand, and require access to data products. This platform has a very fancy user interface. As I said, it's for data product developers as well as for data consumers. I'm not going into that. If you are curious about knowing more and having a demo, please follow these signs or come searching for us at our booth. We would be glad to give you a demo of that. Now I'm handing over the remote to Stefano from Unicredit, who is going to tell you how in the Unicredit group, in the financial services, Data Mesh Boost is being used in order to boost their data mesh journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Roberto. I am Stefano Patti, and I'm responsible for the data architecture and technology in Unicredit. So let's see a bit what is Unicredit. It's a large financial institution. It's a pan-European commercial banking that is mainly composed by 4 regions: Italy, Germany, Central Europe, and Eastern Europe. Everything plugged with 2 different solutions for corporates and individuals, so retail clients. Everything supported and steered with digital and data factories. Some numbers, we have 15 million clients, almost 90k employees. So let's say we are going through a big challenge to implement a data machine at such large corporations. So taking ahead, let's say, the notes that also Roberto was reporting, and also that Zama explained to us, which are, let's say, the current state of the art of the large enterprise. So basically we have data providers that are basically who really run the business through the operational system, that are delivering data with no purpose and not clear accountability. So not with a forward-looking thinking to have data model reusable and scalable across the organization. Data, let's say, are not controlled in terms of data quality standard, governance, and are not, of course, designed to be handled by a final business users. In the middle, what we have, let's say, a centralized IT team that, of course, has to manage the entire set of data coming from the entire area and business of the bank, so of course cannot have the right knowledge to manage correctly the data. And sometimes we may have also different platforms to manage data that are neither interoperable among them. On top of this, of course, we have no clear governance and ownership, and we have a complex management to have real-time streaming data. On the right side, we have data consumers that, of course, would be interested in leveraging on data to better run their business and to take better decisions, moving towards a data-driven organization, but that are facing issues like lower time to market, missing data quality, data redundancy, and so on. So which are the main key challenge that we want to address moving towards a data mesh transformation, and are the one that currently the market are requesting? So let's say the increase of read-write ratio, especially close to the near real time. We have an exponential growth of data inside the organization, but also outside the organization to be part of a good ecosystem. We have the need to increase the computational power, but also the storage power. So these are all, let's say, trends that are impacting our transformation. So let's see how we started to do. Again, data mesh is a socio-technical approach. So we started first from the transformation in terms of people. So we started to design the first domain and subdomain across the organization. We start from, of course, the business part with the commercial banking. So starting to create domain in terms of transaction, customer, channels, revenues, and profitability. Then we plugged it to the definition of the governance function, like finance and risk. So to have domains like the accounts balance sheet, the liquidity and the planning, and everything plugged with the credit risk, the credit decision, and the financial risk. And of course, nowadays, very important, the ESG domain, okay, to steer and boost the ESG increase of the bank. Finally, this is, let's say, a fundamental slides that describe how we are transforming also through the adoption of the marketplace. So currently, we start from a different and, let's say, fragmented ecosystem of platform among, let's say, mainly Teradata, Cloudera, Palantir, Data Warehouse, Data Lake, not interoperable and fragmented. So what we started to do is to start to build the data mesh marketplace and environment setup, giving the possibility to really start building data product in asset service approach. And then what we do, we have two main differentiation of data product. The strategic and the tactical. The tactical are the ones that are creating immediate value to the final users and to business, but that are not pure. The tactical in the strategic indeed are the ones that really will build new additional use case and that are follow the standard of the mesh through, let's say, the golden source ingestion. So second step is that we start to create source aligned data product from the operational system, and then we start to migrate the already existing use case, the tactical one. And then we reiterate, okay? So we create additional source aligned data product from the operational system, and we start to migrate the business logic that was written inside other data platform inside the data product. Finally, when we have achieved the complete migration of our sources in terms of data, but also in terms of business logic, we can start to decommission all the already existing use case in the fragmented data platform, achieving, let's say, a full interoperability and a full mesh compliancy. So this is the journey that we are doing, and of course we are, let's say, being supported by our Agile Lab colleagues, and let's say it's pretty challenging, but we are having fun. If there are any questions, since we were pretty fast, I see still we have 10 minutes. If there are any particular question to me or to Roberto. Go.
There's a question here.
The mic, please.
On your domain slide,
Yeah?
how much did you find the domains or these teams change? Did they change a lot? Did they change a little?
Okay, how we are defining. So basically, let's say one of the fundamental to really achieve domain-oriented ownership is the mesh is that we switch organization from centralized data team towards, let's say, decentralized domain team. Of course, me as a responsible of the data platform, we are acting as an enabler, okay, to, let's say, spread the knowledge across the domain. But of course, what we are aiming to do is start to build a cross-functional team inside the domain, okay? So involving, let's say, the owner of the operational system, the data office, let's say, and together with the business, okay? So we may have, of course, all the technical knowledge to start rebuilding pipeline, data transformation, and so on. We have the knowledge of the data by, let's say, the data office that know how to organize and structure data, and we have the business, let's say, figure who is saying and driving the strategic vision on what is really needed in terms of data product to better run business and take decision. So of course, this is, let's say, a long journey because really there is the need to completely switch, let's say, also the organization of a huge enterprise, let's say. Please?
There's a question there.
Hi, in your next slide, if you got marketplace.
To the marketplace, this one?
Yeah, the
Okay.
data mesh marketplace, is it internally available within the company, or is it?
No, for now it's internally available, yes. We are leveraging on the solution that Paolo was mentioning before.
Is that is it from where the data gets accessed by your customers? For the reports or dashboards?
By the external customer, you mean? No. For now, the strategy is to have only for internal stakeholder. Then we will see in the future. We have already in mind something that I could not say, but we have already in mind the possibility to join also, let's say, external marketplace in terms of exchanging data also with other partners that we may have with the bank. Okay. So we have as a business request such use case, but at this stage, we are not mature enough to go towards that direction.
What was the timeline for this journey?
The timeline of this journey is more or less 3 years. Currently, so a strategic plan, let's say. So currently we have the data mesh marketplace already available, and we aim to have more or less 10 data products in production by end of this year. And then we will start, let's say, step by step migrating all this part. But I mean, to have a consistent migration, so in this figure, let's say at least 3 years. Please? I do not hear.
We can't hear you. Nope.
Come here, come here.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any? Have you encountered a problem of sovereign data? By which I mean, is there ever a data product that's using data that's come from a downstream source where you consider there to be another data owner? So in that case, how would the approval for access to that data product go? Would the data product owner be the only person approving it, or would you also go down to the original data owner and ask for secondary approval?
Is that for the Unicredit journey?
Yeah, either.
Come vuoi?
No, adesso nel caso per external sources chi prende ownership.
Okay. So, I mean, for the external sources, you mean who is the ownership for external sources, right? How is propagating, let's say. Okay. So, I mean, each time that we receive data from external sources, and in a bank we are receiving a lot, what we do is to give the ownership of the domain. Okay. So, imagine that if I am receiving market data sources from external parties, most likely there will be the markets domain who will take ownership of that data. Okay. So how then we implement, let's say, what is called in the paradigm the consumer aligned data product? So who are taking in input from the source align? Basically, what we are building up is a specific template, as also Roberto was discussing before, that would enable the pipeline orchestration, but also the automated consumption of other data product. Okay, so as we know, data product is also composed not only by output port but also by control port, no? In which we are going to expose observability API so that each data product consumer, being a final user or a data product, can go there, query the API and check the status of the quality and the outcome of that data product, so that is fully secure in terms of consumption of that data. I hope that I answered your question. Perfect. One more question, please.
You talked about creating data products from templates, right? So there are two parts of it. One is creating a copy of the infrastructure and then moving all the data engineering aspects. The data mesh boost which you used, was it only used to create copy of the infrastructure, or was it also used to move data engineering aspects as well onto the data product?
I do.
Well, in this case, Data Mesh Boost has been leveraged to, first of all, create those templates so that data engineering practice can be something materialized. It's not just a set of guidelines. Once these templates have been made available, then the centralized data engineering teams could just, clone them, and they had interoperability built into those data products. From a data engineering practice standing point, of course there is something that you can embed into the templates, but templates are not, at least at this stage, they don't embed business logic. They don't embed the software program that actually runs, okay? Because data products are made of components. But of course, you have a platform that allows you to create templates. So over and over during the data mesh journey, higher level, higher order templates can be created. That's also, for example, reproducing certain patterns. Let's say that you have a change data capture acquisition. So you can actually create a template that embeds, for example, a job that, squashing all the mutations coming from the change data captures, and you only have to configure it saying which are the tables that you have to address. But this comes along the journey after, there's a practice involved, there are, the components are really clear, the technology that you want to put together and assemble together, and then via the platform you can create higher order templates, thus addressing higher order complexity use cases.
Okay, basically, if I may add one thing, what the platform will provide and also we are implementing is a kind of archetype or scaffold of that part. Okay, so would enable an automatic creation of all the repository and all the plugged with the CI/CD pipeline, so that the final data product team would be able already to start developing all the data transformation and business logic inside the data product. That's why we call self-service infrastructure, but also in terms of provisioning and developing. Okay, I close. Shut up. Okay, thank you all for the attention.